G'day people, here I am at the Combo Waterhole, just south of Kynuna in north central Queensland. I'm here because I'm going to do Waltzing Matilda, and Combo Waterhole is famous as the billabong where the swagman drowned himself. Now technically this waterhole behind me is not the main waterhole, it's an associated channel. The main waterhole is 1 kilometre that way, but you know, it basically looks exactly the same as this. And I can't lug all my stuff an extra kilometre, so this is where I'm going to do it, and I hope you'd agree I'm close enough. Now, most people would think that Waltzing Matilda is a song about a jolly swagman who stole a sheep, got caught, jumped into billabong to avoid going to jail, killed himself. And if you go 1 kilometre that way to the main waterhole, you'll find there's a concrete obelisk there and a plaque on it that says, "This is the billabong where the swagman stole the sheep, was caught and drowned himself." That's what it says on the plaque. But is it true? Did it really happen? I mean, I have serious doubts as to whether it really happened. I couldn't find any concrete evidence to support that story, at least not on Wikipedia. What I did find was a lot of hard evidence of a different story, which involves the Shearers strike and the Labor Party. And I think it's a much deeper and more involving story anyway, so I'm going to tell you that story. So for those of you who don't know anything about Australian history or the foundations of the Labor Party, in 1890, the Amalgamated Shearers Union of Australasia boasted tens of thousands of members. Shearing was a big thing in Australia in those days. They had unionised thousands of sheds across Australia. At their annual conference in Bourke in 1890, the union laid down a new rule which prohibited members from working with non-union workers. Now on the 31st of July 1890, the shearers around Winton sent a list of demands to Bob McPherson, the boss of Dagworth Station, to be fulfilled before they would begin working at the station. On the 1st of May 1891, one of the first May Day marches in the world took place in Barcaldine. 1,340 men took part in outback Queensland, and they carried the Eureka flag. This was the Great Queensland Shearers strike. But it was poorly timed and it was broken after the Premier of Queensland called in the military. Nevertheless, this strike is credited with being a major factor in the formation of the Australian Labor Party, the same party that runs Australia today. Now in July and August 1894, just 3 years later, the strike broke out again across Queensland, and 7 shearing sheds hiring non-union labour were torched. In the early morning of the 2nd of September 1894, 7 striking shearers, led by one Sam Hoffmeister, firing rifles and pistols, burnt down the Dagworth Station shearing shed, where they were intending to hire non-union labour. And Dagworth was the property owned by the McPherson family. It was about 140 kilometres northwest of Winton. After this action, Sam and the other 7 union members retreated to their camp at 4 Mile Waterhole near Kynuna, which according to another Clark, further up there, is about, it's on the same channel, but it's about 13 kilometres upstream. So again, sorry I couldn't beat the exact spot. I hope you forgive me and accept that this is close enough. I think it's close enough. Anyway, that same afternoon, Senior Constable Austin Cafferty was informed that a man had shot himself at the shearers' camp. A squatter, Bob McPherson, rode his thoroughbred about 25 kilometres to the Waterhole, accompanied by 3 police. Senior Constable Cafferty, Senior Constable Michael Daly, and Trooper Robert Dyer. The 7 Unionists took the fore to view the corpse of Sam Hoffmeister, the leader. 3 days later, Police Magistrate Ernest Eglinton from Winton held a coronial inquest at Kynuna Station into Sam's death and found that Sam had shot himself at the billabong. Death by suicide. 11 months later, August 1895, Banjo Patterson visited the area and wrote the words to Waltzing Matilda to fit Christina McPherson's memory of the Craigie-Lee March, which he'd heard in Warrnambool. The first verse was probably written in Winton, and the other verses either at Dagworth Station or at Dix Creek on the way to Dagworth Station. Now, since the burning of the shearing shed and the suicide of Sam Hoffmeister had only happened 11 months prior, they were still being talked about, and no doubt, at least no doubt in my mind, they inspired Banjo Patterson to use Sam as the central figure in his song. The stolen jumbuck, butchered and eaten by the swagman, was a separate incident, the remains of which were witnessed by Patterson, but probably unrelated to Hoffmeister. And the drowning of the swagman, I guess, is just a more palatable way to present suicide rather than the shearer shooting himself through the mouth. But the riding up of the squatter on his thoroughbred with the 3 police, that checks out. Verifiable fact. And the theme of the Australian spirit, defying authority and dying rather than being imprisoned by the oppressors, is real enough. Assuming Sam's death was indeed suicide, which probably was. Now, the story of the tune to the most commonly heard version is a very complicated story, involves a lot of different people. I'm not going to go into it here. The version that I love, and I'm going to perform now, is the Queensland version, which is a completely different tune to the normal one, or the most common one. It's a completely different feel, and there's some difference in the words. Now, people that think that the Queensland version is not the correct version, if you look at Patterson's own manuscript from his own notebook at the time, it has the words to the Queensland version, not the common version. The most obvious difference between these two is the line in the chorus where he says, "leading a water bag." No, and that doesn't appear in the common version. So Banjo Patterson, the great poet, he wove together various strands of Australia, real Australia, outback Australia, and real Australian values into an all-time classic, which is based around the story of Sam Hoffmeister, but not actually telling his story. There's the romance of the swag, where you can just take off down the road and camp where you like, see the world. There's the Australian larrikin spirit, where a man can break the law if necessary. There's the Australian resourcefulness, needed to handle the tough times when there's no food and you need to steal a sheep to live. There's the great Australian determination to fight for a fair go. There's the mateship and strength of the workers' union. Finally, there's the absolute spirit of defiance in the face of a rigged system where a desperate man will kill himself rather than submit to the oppressor. It's not the true story of Sam Hofmeister, it's a fantasy. But without Sam, the way I see it, there would be no song. And no one knows who wrote the tune to the Queensland version. And perhaps that's the way it should be. Here it is, Waltzing Matilda, the Queensland version. Oh, there once was a swagman camped by a billabong under the shade of a coolabah tree, and he sang as he watched and waited till his billy boiled. You'll come a waltzing Matilda with me. You'll come a waltzing Matilda, my darling. You'll come a waltzing Matilda with me. Waltzing Matilda, leading a water bag. You'll come a waltzing Matilda with me. Down came a jumbuck to drink at the billabong. Up jumped the swagman and he grabbed him with glee. And he sang as he shoved that jumbuck in his tucker bag. You'll come a waltzing Matilda with me. You'll come a waltzing Matilda, my darling. You'll come a waltzing Matilda with me. Waltzing Matilda, leading a water bag. You'll come a waltzing Matilda with me. Up rode the squatter, mounted on his thoroughbred. Down came the troopers, 1, 2, 3. Whose is the jumbuck that you've got in your tucker bag? You'll come a waltzing Matilda with me. You'll come a waltzing Matilda, my darling. You'll come a waltzing Matilda with me. Waltzing Matilda, leading a water bag. You'll come a waltzing Matilda with me. Up jumped the swagman and he sprang into the billabong. You'll never take me alive, said he. And his ghost may be heard as you pass by that billabong. You'll come a waltzing Matilda with me. You'll come a waltzing Matilda, my darling. Waltzing Matilda with me. Waltzing Matilda, leading a water bag. You'll come a waltzing Matilda with me. Farewell, Sam.